Welcome back to my Flosstube. This is episode number 4. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and thank you for joining me today. I'm planning to do a WIP Parade today. So for those of you who might not know, WIPs are works in progress. So they're stitching pieces that you're in the process of creating. And I went through my WIPs and I don't have as many as I thought, which is fine. Everybody has, I've seen other floss tubers who have, many WIPs, like 70 and 80. And then, I've seen some that are lower, or, those that monogamously stitch, which means you stitch one piece, until you finish it and then you start another one. So you don't really have a whole lot of things or, multiple things going on. So everybody has a different preference. Everybody, works differently. And I like to have a few different things because I kind of get bored when I'm stitching one thing for a while. Sometimes, you can get on a good roll and something will really catch you, and it's hard to put down. But for the most part, I like to change it up and be able to have, some different things that I can choose from depending on what my mood is for the day. So, but I went through my bag, and this is not including my 24 and 24, which I plan to update in my next video. Today is strictly just the other stitches, not aside from my 24 and 24, but my other WIPs that I have, need to finish, have started. I went through and I took out a couple that I wasn't really focused on. Like, I'm not really wanting to finish them this year, which is cool. I know I'll finish them. I still really enjoy them. I'd still like to have them completed. It's just not something that I really want to focus on right now. So I took a couple out and I just, took all the floss, took all the out of the kit so that I can use them for other things. And I just put the floss or the stitched piece that I have done, and I have a container, and I have them in that container, and that way I can just pull them out later and when I feel like working on them. So when I did that, counted them up, and I only have 11 WIPs, which I didn't think was that bad. I mean, like I said, I've seen, others with a lot more. So I think this is perfectly doable. Hopefully I can, well, I won't talk about my May plans yet. For those of you in the stitching community know that it's Stitch Mania, and I have, I'll talk about that later, but I did something last year. It was my first year learning what Stitch Mania was, and so this year I'm going to do it a little different, and that'll change my WIP count. But for now, I have 11, which is awesome, and I think it's perfectly doable. So I'm going to go through each one of my WIPs, and I'll show you where I'm at, what I'm stitching. I think what I'm going to do is keep the camera facing forward. I store most of my projects in these awesome bags, and I get these from Simon Says Stamp, which is like a paper crafting, stamping website. Because I do enjoy that as one of my other crafts and hobbies. So these are awesome projects. I would love to have more project bags, but these are good for the time being. Project bags isn't like the ones that you actually sew and, make and put stuff in, because I'm, one of those people that there's so many, I've seen so many designers out there that make their own bags, and they're so beautiful, but I'm one of those crafters that's like, I can make that. And so I'm not buying them because I'm like, well, I can make that. Well, you know, you only have time for so much. So I just haven't had time to make any right now, and that's okay. You know, I'm working well with these, so I'm just gonna keep going with them. Here's my first WIP. This is Hello Spring from Shannon Christine. I love the colors on this one, and that's what really drew me to it. Was just the pretty palette, and yeah, I just love all this bright spring colors. Let's see, this one is stitched. It's what, 78 by 100 is the stitch count, and I am stitching it on a 14 count parchment by Fabric Flare, and this is what I have so far. So this parchment, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of Fabric Flare is they do like screen printing on fabric, so it's not like a dyed fabric or linen that's the color is you know, saturated on like both sides. They screen print whatever color or image pattern on, you know, the front side, and then so the other side is like the natural, or the what they started off their base Aida. But this material is super soft, and it just has a nice feel when stitching. So yeah, this is what I have so far. I'm using all the called for DMC. The one thing though that I'm going to change, and I'm not quite sure yet, is a lot of the, there's some white spots, like these flowers here. There's some hearts that are used white. I think the DMC is like B, where is it? B5200. But I stitched it, and actually I tore it out because after I did it, it really wasn't popping at all. So I want to change it. I'm just not sure what I'm going to change it to, but I've been working on this one. I pulled it back out. I hadn't worked on it since last year, because I'm hoping to try to finish it before spring. You know, I've got, what, a week or two, I think. So, but yeah, I like that one, and I'm going to keep going on it. Get that one done soon, and then I can show you. I have no idea what my plans are for fully finishing it, but I'm sure as I get closer, you know, something will come to me, or I really need to just start thinking about how I want to display it. And, you know, that's the first step, right? Okay, so number 2 is I Would Rather Be Stitching by Primrose Cottage. And they have quite a few like bee themed patterns, and this one is so cute. I love bees. Yeah, I'm excited to get this one done also. The stitch count on this is 124 by 42. It does call for DMC, which I am using the called for DMC colors. And they do have, let's see, on the back, I can show you. This is another one of the patterns. It's like ABC, what is it? I can't remember what, oh, it is called ABC. But I don't have this one yet, but I do want to stitch them. There's a few patterns that complement this, so I would like to stitch all of them, and I'm going to use all the same colors so they coordinate. This one I am stitching on a 28 count white Monaco, which I've never stitched on a Monaco before. It's very stiff, so I haven't made a decision yet, mostly because I haven't picked this one back up in a while. So, but this, yeah. Oh, it's upside down. This is all I have stitched so far. So I've got a little start, and I haven't picked it up since I started it last year. So, yeah, I'm going to work on that one too. So that's number 2. put all these back in, that way I don't have a huge disaster when I'm all done. Number 3 is Cornelius. It's part of the Chicken Club by Lori Holt. It was a Fat Quarter Shop club last year, and every month came out with a new chicken, and each one of them has its own name, and they're super cute. Here's Cornelius. I just love the colors. I think that was the first thing that drew me to it, is just the colors. They are a DMC floss, and I am using the Color for DMC. The stitch count is 60 by 83, so it's not a terribly big stitch. I do have plans for when I finish all of these 12, which I don't know if that'll happen this year, but I'll share that down the line. We got some time. But here's what I have so far. Here's little Cornelius. I'm stitching this on, it's an Aida, also 14 count pale gray gingham. And this is kind of like that fabric flare where it has the printing, like, I don't know, you can see there's the back, but on the front, it's like it's printed in a gingham pattern. And so it's real subtle, just gives it a little bit more interest. When I first started back into stitching last year, I started with Aida 14 count because that was what I was most familiar with when I started, when I learned to cross stitch. So most of my stuff that I started from the beginning is on Aida, and I'm just not going to change it because I still like Aida. I've learned to like a lot of other different prints, but I don't really feel the need to like stop stitching anything, especially, the things that I really want to complete. So yeah, that's Cornelius. That's number 3. Now, number 4 I have is Patriotic Tiny Town. And I've shown in my other videos that I'm working on the Big Hearted Tiny Town. And she's coming out with like 3, this is by Heart and Hand. And the designer is coming out with 3 new ones at Market this year, which Market just happened this past weekend in Nashville, and it's a big needlework kind of expo where designers and people get together in the needlework community, in the stitching community, to share their new designs. And so that happened, and super excited I've seen the new Tiny Towns, and they're super cute. So I really want to stitch all of these because they are super cute. Look at those little tiny towns, tiny little houses, and the colors are so pretty. And this one I am using the called for colors. Let's see, this stitch count is, what is this? Ta-da. This is 176 by 30, and all of these, and I think I showed 2 in my last video, but all of these little tiny towns come with buttons, so they're on the pattern because they're placed, sporadically on here. Not really sporadically. There's a pattern or a design to them, but they're placed intermittently along there. So this one I'm stitching on 32 count graceful gray. And this is also a pretty stiff material too. And here's what I have started. I think I started in the center with this one, which I used to when I first started stitching, got back into stitching, I would center start. And everybody is different where they start their stitches. Some people start at the top right. Some people start at the bottom. Some people start at the center. It just is preference, and sometimes I'll start in different spots depending on what kind of pattern I'm stitching. So I'm not exactly sure how I've just gravitated, started center, and now I start usually from the top left. I don't know, just I guess that's with practice, and I don't know, just changed. So, yeah, but that's Tiny Town. That's a big piece of material right there. So need to get working on that. At least I've got a little bit of time before, you know, 4th of July. All right, let's see, number 5, right? Number 5 is Four Seasons Folk. This is from Hands On Design. This was from a retreat last year that I ended up not being able to attend, but here's this. This is what I have. This one is almost done. Like, I just have down here just a little bit left, and then this one will be finished. The reason I didn't get to attend is a story for another time, but I really should just finish this one because it wouldn't take long at all. The colors, you know, just beautiful colors and design, and there are just additional stitches that are unique to this pattern, and I haven't gotten to that part yet. This material, though, is 16 count driftwood from Fabrics by Stephanie. So yeah, this was like one of my first endeavors into like a linen. Well, not a linen. This is an even weave, but stitching on I'm sorry, did I say 16 count? No, I meant 32 count driftwood. This is not 16. This was like my first foray, I guess, into stitching on like an even weave, and so it took some adjustment, but I now really enjoy it. So yeah, that one I just need to pull out and sit down because I could finish that one up pretty quick. So I need to do that. All right, that's number 4, or I'm sorry, that was number 5. Number 6 is Leaves of Autumn. Here's another Primrose Cottage stitch. Oh, and that full one, the one that I just showed from Hands On Design, she's coming out with a spring one at market this year that's very pretty. So I'm definitely going to have to add that to my list. So this is number 6. This is Leaves of Autumn from Primrose Cottage. Another design by Lindsay Waite. This is stitch count is 168 by 112. The colors for this one are all cotton color floss. And I have the floss. I'm going to stitch it with the called for floss. And I'll pull out the floss because they're so pretty. And they're so soft. So Color and Cotton is actually a store near where I am. I'm in Columbia, Missouri, and Color and Cotton is located in St. Louis, and they just opened a brick and mortar store last year. And I've only gotten to go once, and it was really cool. So I dragged my husband along, and he watched our daughter while I browsed around. But I'm excited to start stitching with these because they're so soft, and I think they're gonna stitch up beautifully. So let me see. I have such a small little start on this. It's almost not even a WIP. Like, that's it. Yeah. You know, I started and it'll get finished. This one, I usually cut off my material, and, you know, I just cut off what I need. I use the calculator from Fat Quarter Shop, and I think I said I was going to link that in a previous video, and I apologize for not doing that. I'm trying to get better about linking, so I will definitely link that below. But the Fat Quarter Shop calculator is awesome because you can put in your the stitch count of your material. You can put in how many stitches your project is, and you know how much of a border you want to leave, and it will tell you how big of a piece of material you need, which is really handy when you're trying to plan out projects, or you know, if you have a piece of material and you're wondering if it'll fit, it's just a really handy tool. So but like I said, I usually use that and I'll cut it down, but I decided to leave it on this one big piece, and then I'll just cut it off when I'm done. But this is, I have to look and see what, I think this is light taupe, 32 count light taupe, yeah. And I've stitched a lot of stuff on this 32 count light taupe. Really, it's a good, just neutral color. Goes with a lot of different things. So there is that start. Should pull that out and work on it. I don't really stick to seasons. I mean, I will stitch seasonally, but I'm not gonna like specifically save this one till, you know, autumn. I don't know. What do you do? Do you stitch with the seasons, or do you just pull out whatever you feel like stitching? Leave me a comment. I'd love to know. All right, so number 7 is flying lessons. This was a stitch along by Nicole Spohr, and I'll link her channel below. I actually started watching her because she is a card creator, and that's how I originally, you know, found out about her. But then she got back into stitching, and so I've been following her floss tubes, and they're amazing. She comes up with a lot of awesome tutorials, and she does these wonderful stitch alongs. And let's see, this one is by Silver Creek Samplers. This is Flying Lessons, and I think Halloween might be my like, as far as projects go, Halloween is definitely like top. So I really enjoy Halloween. So there's that one. And this one, there were a lot of different, it was neat with the stitch along because people were doing different materials and different color changes. And so I ended up changing as well. And I cannot remember who, if I find, I think it's Celia Samplers. She came up with this color conversion on her, I believe it's on her website, and I'll see if I can find it and link it. But this is what I have so far. Not too much, but this material is so pretty, and so I love the modeling. You know, it's blue, but it has this purple in it. And then it really brings out the purple in this title. But I haven't really stitched on a whole lot of colored, you know, material. So this might be like one of the very few that I have. And I really should, I pulled this out and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I really need to, you know, venture out and try some different colors and, you know, change it up a little bit. But let's see, this, I saw the tag on it. This is a 32 count Jazz Belfast linen. And yeah, it's just, this will be so cool when it's done. I have the finishing piece already. It's from 141 Design. So yeah, oh, I don't know where I did with the floss to that. I'm gonna have to find it. So yeah, that's number 7, and I definitely want to get that done this year. All right, now moving on to number, what do we have? Number 8. Here's another Halloween one. This was a mystery stitch along from Fat Quarter Shop last year, and they do a stitch along. I think they said they do one every year, and they alternate. Sometimes it's Halloween themed, and then it'll be an autumn theme. So this one, let me show you the pattern. So with the mystery stitch along, what they do is they will, and actually I don't have a picture. I'll link a picture there. there. I don't know, might be there or there. So anyway, let's see. Okay, so here's what I have so far. So what they do is it's like a 4-week stitch along, and each week they come up with a portion. And then, you know, the remainder is a mystery, because they'll, you know, just show 1/4 of the piece each week. So this is pretty much 1/4 or 1 week. And so you can see I still have like 3 left to do, but this is another one, and it's just pretty quick. I, you know, want to try and get this one done this year also. And actually this is another color, so I guess I have more than I thought. But this is, let's see, this is 14 count Pistachio Ada by Fiber on a Whim. And it's neat to do colors, you know. When first started stitching, it was like really all you had was white mostly. That's what I remembered. So just all of the different fabric, you know, the designers and the different counts, and there's just so many, I don't know, so many choices. You can really be creative. And I'll show you my floss. These are all, I believe, Classic Colorworks. Yeah. So this is the floss. This is actually what came in these little floss biddies came in a kit. And yeah, these are all Classic Colorworks, so they're over dyed floss, which means that they're hand dyed, so they have a lot of variegation, unlike DMC, which is like machine dyed. So it's you know, you can regulate it. It's one color. It doesn't have any variegation. So and that's another thing too, is when I started stitching, at least to my knowledge, I mean, I was like 9, there wasn't any over dye floss. So, and DMC is beautiful, and I stitch a lot in DMC. But it's so nice to have options, and with the variegation, you know, you can throw it in and really change the look of a stitch. So, all right, so that was my number 8. Number 9 is Welcome to the North Pole by Primrose Cottage. And this one is a big one. I think this might be the biggest one I have so far. So big. Okay, so this one, and it's going to be so cool when it's done. But the stitch count on this one is 100 by 257. So it's a long one. So big so that it has a book, its own book instead. And each layer or level is a 2-page spread. So their books are beautiful, and they have them laid out so nicely. So yeah, this one will be nice to finish too. I'll show you what I have. I'm using the Called For It Comes. They have a Classic Colorworks. There's some Weeks Dye Works. There's even some Gentle Arts, which I don't have a whole lot of familiarity with Gentle Arts. It is another over-dyed floss. And there's some DMC. So there's a little bit of everything in this pattern. Here's some of the colors. These are all the over-dyed. And then I have some DMC as well. It's not on floss rings. This I'm stitching on the 32 count light taupe as well. Or I'm sorry, this is 28 count, but it's the light taupe. So here's what I have so far. So I have the 2-page spread here, and then I have the second here, and I've started the third one, which is the snowman right here. So yeah, this one's a big one, but it'll be super cute when it's finished. I don't know how I'm gonna finish it yet, but this is the year to finish that one. check it off my list. All right. Oh, and I forgot to mention too. So these are totally optional, but you can get a button pack, kind of like the tiny towns have little buttons you can add. This one has a little button pack that you can add also. And they have one of their floss tubes, Primrose Cottage. They do a floss tube as well, but they show you the placement of each of the buttons. So, and those are completely optional, but I thought they were a cute touch. I love when things can add dimension, just an added, something a little added. So I do plan on adding those. I'll just stitch them on when I'm done with the pattern. So, okay. Almost coming to the end. So this next one is one I've only had a couple where I've totally kind of started from the beginning, or, you know, I wasn't real happy. Like, I started stitching this one, and I'll have to pull it out sometime, and it's a real basic one when I first got back into stitching, and it's real simple, like a coffee one. It's like a oh my gosh, I can't think of the term, but it's a coffee related one. And I stitched on Ada. I was stitching the called for DMC, and it was just very flat, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I hemmed and hawed, and I was like, I've already started. I was like maybe 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, you know, I should just finish it. And then but it was really hard because I didn't want to stitch it. I didn't want to pick it up. And so I just decided, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. My heart's not in it. It's not something that I even wanted to display when I was done. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to stop. And I stopped, and I got rid of it. Because, yeah, it just wasn't giving me joy. So, and this is supposed to be joyful, you know, not joyful, but, you know, just, you should enjoy what you're spending your time on. And if you don't enjoy it, then, I mean, why are you doing it? So anyway, so that's kind of what I did with this one. Is I started stitching it on, because it was fabric that I had, and I wanted to try to use my stash. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to try it. And I think this might be 28 count Vintage Country Mocha. And as you can see, this is Sleigh Bells Ring from Cherry Hill Stitchery. I am almost done with this pattern. Like, here is the original. Let's see if I can find. Okay, here's the original, you know, and here's what I have. So I'm nearly done, but I have fussed with this so much because these berries, they weren't sticking out. This horse, he kind of gets lost. He's not real defined, and I tried doubling up. So what did I stitch 2 over? So each square I used 2 strands of floss. For the berries and parts of the horse, I went back and I took out what I had stitched, and I tried stitching with 3 pieces just to try to give it a little bit of more definition. And I keep looking at it, and I'm not happy with it. There's certain parts that are, you know, I'm happy how they turned out. The Sleigh Bells Ring is good, but there's just, I don't know. It's just not, I'm not happy with the finish. So I'm going to start over, and I'm going to start on a 32 count material because that's what the pattern called for. And I think that it needs that, let me make sure I'm telling you correctly. Yeah, 32 count. I think it needs that, with the 32 count, it's smaller, so it brings the stitches closer together. And I think it needs that closeness to kind of bring more definition to some of those images. And when you stitch it on a larger piece, it just kind of gets lost. So I'm not sure what I'm going to stitch on yet. I have to do a floss toss. So a floss toss is you take your fabric, whatever you're thinking, you take your floss and you toss it on there and you see how it looks under, hopefully like natural light. And just kind of get an eye for what it might look like. So I'm debating on, I have this one that I've had in my stash. It's a lamb's wool. It's a 32 count, so it's going to be a smaller weave. And then I also have this opalescent, which it has, like the sparkle to it, and it's green. So I thought, I don't know, that might look kind of good. I don't know. So I might try that one. So I have to, do my floss toss and see. I might put a couple stitches in, especially with this one, because I haven't really stitched on, anything really with opalescent sparkle in it. So not sure exactly how it'll turn out, but so I might test it out before I get that far again and realize I don't like it. But that's how you learn, is you make mistakes, and it's not really a mistake. It's just, it's just learning, and, your taste change, your style changes, and want to stitch something that I'm going to be happy with displaying. So I'm going to do that one again. This is actually my only, no, not my only. I only have 2 bags that I've made. Like I was saying, I can make that. So I can link this pattern below, but this is a design from Tiger Lily, and she is an incredible creator. And I made this portfolio from a pattern of hers, and yeah, I'd like to make more, but they take a little bit of time. So my last one, number 11, is my Big Hearted Tiny Town. And I know that Valentine's Day is over and that February's over, but I'm going to keep stitching on this one because I love it. And it is, like I said, I am loving these tiny towns. So this is another one from Heart and Hand. And I really want to get this one done just because it's fun to stitch on. So I'm stitching this one on 32 count. This is Powder Pink Splash Lugana. And here's what I have so far. So I'm using the, so it calls for a Classic Color Works and Weeks Dye Works with DMC conversion. A lot of designers, even though they call for overdyed floss, which is, can be more expensive than your DMC, but they always include a DMC, because that is a more cost-effective way. And also you just get different looks depending on different threads that you use. So for the most part, I am using the called for Weeks Dye Works and the Classic Color Works, except there were 2 colors that I didn't have. It's like this like, kind of like a brownie gray, beige, grayish, I don't know. And then this brown here, I didn't have them, but they're also pretty small coverage. They're just little pieces. So I'm using the DMC because I did have that. So, but yeah, I'm going to keep going on that one too because I am just really enjoying it. So, so I guess I have 2 other WIPs. Now, I don't want to share those because I'm not 100% sure that the people that I might be stitching them for watch this, and I don't really want to give it away. So when I do finish, though, I will show you. So I guess technically I have 13 WIPs. I should make that 14 so I can make it an even number, but anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know what you're stitching. How many WIPs do you have going? I'd love to know. Drop me a comment. I'll try to do my best at link everything that I spoke about below. If you have any questions, you can always drop me a comment as well. I'd love to hear from you. I'm trying to, grow my floss tube. So, if your first time here, I'd love if you like the video and subscribe to my channel. Trying to get a sense for how I want to schedule my floss tubes, but haven't quite, nailed down a real schedule yet. So I'm hoping to have another one next week because I do have some things that I'm working on, and I want to do an update on my 24 and 24. And yeah, I love stitching, and would love to hear from you. And hopefully you guys are doing well. And yeah, I will hopefully see you next week. Take care and happy stitching. Bye.